This next one goes out to anyone who's missing the point. So strap in, buckle up, buckaroos, because we are flying down the windy back roads of memory lane, and it's a rainy afternoon. So close your eyes and imagine, if you will, that you are in your 40s. Technically, barely, but you're there in your 40s. So this means you can rewind the clock back to before the internet. You can rewind the clock back to when the TV was the size of a dresser, weighed 400 pounds, and it was only 19-inch screen. I believe my first consoles in my house were the Atari. Later, I remember the purchase of the Nintendo. The Atari was before my memory could form, but it was there. The NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom if you're Japanese. That was my first real foray into the video game world. Okay? So, I don't know if you ever had a 400-pound, 19-inch color, okay, Technicolor TV from the late 70s, early 80s. But let me tell you, fidelity was not a word we used yet, okay? Definition, not in our vocabulary, not part of the lexicon. There was no definition, okay? Forget high definition. We had yet to reach definition, okay? So, all that to say, I began my journey with colored pixels, okay? Colored pixels, blocks. Imagine, never mind. I was gonna say imagine Legos as a video game, but they already did that in 3D, and it's fucking amazing. So that is a bad example. So imagine you take a piece of paper and you start, that doesn't even, imagine you take a piece of graph paper, okay? Graph paper, and you start coloring in those squares. There you go. That's the video games we played. All right? That's where I started. You want to play with other people? Good luck. The idea of a two-player game was far-fetched. In fact, most two-player games were just each person taking a turn playing the game, much like an arcade. Oh, arcades? Yeah, we had those too. That was our, I guess you could say that's our version of playing online. You'd stand there, you have some kid bullying you, standing there behind you with quarters. Maybe he's telling you that you're playing the game wrong. Maybe he's mocking you so that you'll leave and he can play. I don't know, man. But these people have always existed. It's not new. There's always been, like, people. So, you know, I started with nothing, and now I'm here, okay? I was poor, so I was always behind. We were behind on every generation of video game console upgrade, okay? Let's see, Super Nintendo, we got that about a year after it came out, and my stepdad bought it for himself, and we were almost never allowed to play it. In fact, I don't even want to go into that story. It's not relatable right now. It has to do with Super Mario World. Me and my sister beat that game completely, 100%. Oh, it was amazing. Anyway, the point is, always got games late, and those games were still just pixels. It's just pixels. Just pixels moving on a friggin' screen. Okay? And still no internet. Alright? By the time the internet came around, nobody was gaming on it yet. And then we're in the Nintendo 64 era. And, well, actually, 64 had come out before that. Around 94, I think. But we didn't get a Nintendo 64 until like 1996. maybe even later. I'd have to check my memory banks, but I only got a Nintendo 64 because the whole idea of a video game exchange just opened up stores, and there was a literal store called Game Exchange, and they were the first game buy, sell, trade, used, new game store. And so I took my NES, all the games I had. I took the Super Nintendo, all the games we had. I took, must note at this point, I believe that that stepdad was no longer in the picture, so ex-stepdad at this point, but I won the video games, so I guess I won on that one. Anyway, and like the Christmas before, we had gotten, well, again, this was the stepdad was still in the picture. He had gotten himself, but put our names on it for Christmas. The Sega Genesis and the Sega CD in the same year. It was a great year. It felt like a great year. I think he was trying to make up too much information, guys. I'm sorry. I'm driving down memory lane and we're veering off wet spot in the road. Sorry. Anyway, I had a Sega CD and a Sega Genesis for a small period of time as well. So NHL 95 or 96 was out. So, okay, it had to be like 97 that we took all of this. I convinced my brother and my sister to be like, hey guys, you guys don't really play these games. Like, can we upgrade? And we traded everything in to get a Nintendo 64, GoldenEye 007, Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, and Hexen. Those were the 3 games I had, and I played the shit out of them for years. So GoldenEye 007 was the beginning of my first-person shooter, couch co-op, shooting games like we have nowadays online. I was the master of the couch. I was the master of the basement. I was the master of, anybody in my neighborhood, all the way up until I got older. Now, I also have had all kinds of crazy things going on in between there. And so, by the time I hit my older teen years, by the time I'm like 16, my friend had a PlayStation 2, and I remember I spent a lot of weekends in his basement playing Grand Theft Auto. We'd play a lot of Grand Theft Auto 3, and literally just put in cheat codes and run around doing dumb shit. Anyway, still no internet gaming. Let's see. I had a GameCube. By the time I had moved out and was doing my own thing, I ended up getting a GameCube, and that was like the extent. My roommate had a PlayStation 2, so we had a GameCube and a PlayStation 2, and same thing. He played a lot of like Final Fantasy, and that's when I started getting into the more fantasy games and like RPGs. And then I was playing Grand Theft Auto and Nightfire 007 and those kind of things. And then eventually my little brother came over with an Xbox, and I was like, oh shit, dude, you got an Xbox? That's crazy, dude. Because now that I didn't live at home and my sister didn't live at home, my brother pretty much, I think he was able to just kind of get stuff. So he had an Xbox for whatever reason, and they had the internet. He was living with my mom and a new stepdad, and he had the internet and an Xbox, and he had been playing this crazy game called Halo, and he was like so excited to bring it over and show me this game called Halo. He said I was gonna freaking love it because we always played these kind of games. And I was like, sweet dude, I'm down. And then he brought it over to my apartment, we plugged it in, and we started playing, and I never got to get past the fucking spawn. He just demolished me every map, just giggling. What's wrong? and just killing me all over the place in this game called Halo. And it pissed me off because, again, scratch back to 10 minutes ago, I was the master of the couch, the basement, all the little cousins. I was the oldest in my family, so like the oldest kid, so I was the gaming master. And here my brother is demolishing me in a shooting game, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, I've been playing online, and I'm like, whoa, what? So that was my first taste of like what it was like to go from playing on the couch and being the best to a kid getting an entire summer full of just playing shooting games online, Halo and Counter-Strike. And it was devastating. As an older brother, it was devastating. It was like, what? As a well, you know, soon to be the older generation of people, it was devastating. I'm like, holy shit, these kids with the internet are gonna destroy. And then, you know, life went on, and then I got older. The Xbox 360 came out, and that era hit. And by that era, I was into it. I had some friends, and they had Xboxes, and eventually, after having children and like blah blah blahing life, I was able to get my own Xbox 360, and then we played a lot of gaming, a lot of Halo, a lot of online playing, and I was there through all the lobbies of Xbox and all the lobbies of Halos, Call of Duties, all that. Okay, I've heard all the terrible things that they say. I was there when it was unedited, when it was raw, and it's always been lame. I've always been like, we're just playing a game, guys. This is Pixels. Is anybody here just to play for fun? Is anybody here to play for fun? And finally, after the most long-winded, windy road down memory lane, for no fucking reason ever, other than to say, I'm just playing for fun, guys. And most of you know that. And I know they're like, some people say, oh, don't read comments and blah blah. Dude, I read comments. I don't care. I read everything. I respond to everything. I don't care. And I got two wolves inside of me, okay? And this morning, the retarded one woke up. And he read the comments, and he was like, man, somebody was bitching about it having FPSs. The FPSs, man. Bro, I love you, okay? But for real, you're missing the point. I don't give a fuck about the FPSs, dude. I don't give a fuck about frame rate. I don't give a fuck about the fidelity or the definition that I'm playing in. I'm just having fun. I'm just having some fun, bro. The only FPS I care about is feet per second. And that has to do with a whole different subject that YouTube won't even let me talk about. So I don't even want to bother. Unless I'm playing a game. You could showcase all the pew-pews you want in a video game and all the violence and carnage you want in a video game. But anyway, digression. The point is, I'm playing for fun, alright? And Rust has always looked like a super fun game to me. Except for one element, and that is the online element. Now, back to the point of being in my barely and technically, but in my 40s, I don't got time to be worried about, am I getting rated offline? Am I gonna blah blah blah? Do I need to play for 8 hours today? No, I need to be able to hop on and hop off. I need to be able to stop playing at any moment and like do dad stuff or do husband stuff or do eBay stuff or just take a break, you know, because I don't want to play games all the time. I'm again in my 40s, so like I'm starting to get not over it, but like it's not a full-time job. And speaking of which, I don't have a full-time job because the good Lord above blessed me with a condition called multiple sclerosis. And so it was another hiccup in that windy road down memory lane. I skipped over that speed bump, but the point is, like, I don't just play video games. And then when I do, I feel bad about it. And then when I do play video games, I want to have fun. And so it might be boring, and it might not be everybody's cup of tea, and I get that. But there's 800 trillion videos on YouTube, so like there's something for everyone, and I'm not trying to be something for everyone. But if you go back and watch old videos, you'll hear me say that I'm trying to be something for everyone. So I contradicted myself, but that's because that was years ago, and I've grown, and now I've changed, and now I'm making videos for me, and this is fun for me. So I'm having fun. I'm inviting other people who want to have the same kind of fun and not worry about bullshit. And, you know, in the meantime, I'm making videos about it, and, you know, I'm thinking about like the kind of events I want to do to make my island experience and everybody who joins, to make it, you know, more fun, have some element to it, okay? And we'll get there. But in the meantime, I love you guys. I love comments, and I'm actually not complaining. It wasn't like anybody was talking shit. It was just typical internet banter, you know? Like, this game is garbage if you play it like this. And I've had friends who've always, like, I've always had friends who've been like, oh, you're playing the game wrong, you gotta do it like this. And I've always been a contrarian. You have to understand, from my earliest kernel, spark of light, I've been an anarchist. Like, I'm an anti, like, if you tell me not to do it, I'm gonna be like, why? Hang on, why? Well, now I want to do it. So it's like, that's just how I am. I'm a contrarian. I'm an antithetical whatever to whatever I'm doing. I do things the hard way. I learn my lessons the hard way. I've done YouTube the hard way and been aware of it the entire time. I don't care, you know, and it's just who I am. Sometimes I hit a banger. Sometimes it's just to make videos, because like I've said before, I'm just compelled to do this. Like, it's a compulsion. Like, whether people are watching or not, quite obviously, I'm doing this. So, you know, it is what it is. But just, you know, to let everybody who may stumble upon this know, this might be boring and not for everybody. And I don't care about frame rates or FPSs or any of that. I'm just playing to have fun, because that's like, I'm in my 40s. Let's face it, I'm basically dead. The rest of this time is just waiting, right? So in the meantime, I'm gonna have fun while I'm playing games. And if you want to have fun too, or you have any ideas of things that would make it more fun, like, I've been looking into how to like up the amount of computer baddies, you know, scientists and whatnot, make that a little more challenging. I don't know, things like that. I've thought about doing, like, maybe like build a giant castle and like fill it with loot or something, and do like a storm the castle event type deal, and or maybe have everybody pick teams. I was thinking about maybe we could do like a team thing. If you want to be on a team that like plays PvP, then you can all team up together. That way you know who is down to fight each other or something like that. I've got a couple ideas, okay? This is not the spot for that right now, because I just had a long-winded story about why I play a boring style like I do. Anyway, if you haven't noticed in the background, there's some buildings that I didn't build all along my river. And, well, those are friends. And, well, we got some adventures coming up. Hey, buddy. Anyway, love you guys. Bye. Oh, I forgot to... What was that, honey? Oh, yeah. Hey, your mom wants you to subscribe, if you could, please. Thank you.